Recap. Alchemy Emperor of the Divine Dao, Chapter 1003, Chapter. In a realm hidden beyond mortal sight, where the boundaries of heaven and earth blurred into something vast and boundless, there existed a world untouched by decay. Endless fields of rare herbs stretched like emerald seas beneath a gentle sky. Verdant mountains rose in silent majesty, their peaks veiled in drifting spiritual mist. Clear waters flowed like liquid jade, reflecting the heavens above. Spiritual beasts roamed freely, their presence neither hostile nor tame, while divine beasts moved like ancient guardians within the haze. The very air shimmered with layered strands of divine essence, weaving together into a living tapestry. It was not merely a space, it was a world. And Shui Yanyu stood within it, her entire being shaken to the core. Her eyes widened, unable to contain the shock flooding her heart. This was her first time witnessing a spatial god tool, and never had she imagined something of such magnitude. This was no storage artifact, no hidden pocket of space. This was creation itself, a heaven born within another heaven. Ling Han stood beside her, a faint smile resting upon his lips as he watched her reaction. His voice was calm, yet carried a hint of pride. "Are you pleased with this place?" Shui Yanyu nodded immediately, her movements quick and eager, her delicate face filled with astonishment and delight. "N." Yet almost as quickly, her expression shifted, her brows furrowed slightly, and she turned to him with concern flickering in her gaze. "But if both of us are inside here, wouldn't others discover the spatial god tool?" Ling Han chuckled softly, shaking his head. "They won't." His eyes flickered with quiet confidence as he continued. "I call this place the Black Tower. To me, it appears as a 9-story black tower, but to others, it cannot be seen at all." He lifted a hand slightly, as though holding something invisible. "That is because, in the outside world, it is no larger than a mustard seed, smaller than a speck of dust. Even if I enter it completely, no one could possibly notice something so insignificant." Shu Yanyu listened, her heart gradually settling. She believed him. After all, she had seen it with her own eyes. Ling Han vanishing into thin air. She had searched and searched, yet not even the faintest trace of him remained. Such a thing could not be false. Her eyes lit up again, this time filled with excitement. "Then, wouldn't we be invincible with this treasure?" Ling Han laughed lightly, his arms moving without hesitation as he wrapped them around her slender waist, pulling her into his embrace. "My wife speaks true." His tone was direct, without concealment, as though it were the most natural thing in the world. He had not yet had his fill of her closeness from before. Shui Yanyu let out a soft murmur, her voice carrying both embarrassment and helplessness. Damn pervert. Yet despite her words, she did not struggle much. The overwhelming grandeur of this world, the revelation of such a treasure, it stirred something deep within her heart. A powerful emotion surged through her, blurring the line between reason and instinct. The two of them clung to one another, their breaths intertwined, their bodies drew closer and closer. And just as they were about to cross that final, irreversible boundary, they stopped. Ling Han suddenly spoke, breaking the tension. "I'll show you something even more interesting." Taking her hand, he led her across the vast land till they arrived at a seemingly empty patch of ground. Shui Yanyu blinked, her brows lifting in confusion. Her beautiful eyes widened slightly as she looked around. "You wanted to show me this empty land?" Ling Han shook his head, a confident grin appearing on his face. No. He pointed toward the barren soil. "Before long, a reincarnation tree will grow here." Shui Yanyu froze. Her mind immediately recalled something. "The seed of the reincarnation tree, the one you bought at the auction?" She hesitated, then continued. "But don't you know? It would take 12 trillion years for it to fully mature." Ling Han burst into laughter, the sound echoing across the open land. "Heh, don't worry." Reaching out, he gently pinched her delicate cheek. "You won't have to wait until your teeth fall out." His eyes gleamed with certainty. "At most 3 years. Within 3 years, this reincarnation tree will reveal its true power. And when that time comes, cultivating here for a single day will be equivalent to an entire lifetime." Shui Yanyu stared at him, her heart wavering. 12 trillion years. Reduced to 3? It sounded impossible. Yet she stood within a world hidden inside a mustard seed. She had witnessed the impossible already. So why could this not also be real? Slowly she nodded. She chose to believe him. "You truly are a man blessed by the heavens," she said softly. "To open the sky and possess such fortune, this is not something an ordinary person could achieve." Ling Han smirked. "That's only natural." He leaned closer, his tone teasing. "Otherwise, how could I have such a beautiful demon like you throw yourself into my arms?" Shui Yanyu's face flushed instantly, crimson spreading across her cheeks. Who threw themselves into your arms?" Her voice trembled slightly, her almond-shaped eyes soft and shimmering like water. Then suddenly, her expression changed. She remembered the incident. Ling Han spying on her while she bathed. Her embarrassment instantly turned into annoyance. "You damn pervert!" Without hesitation, she raised her fist and struck toward him. Ling Han, of course, did not take such a light attack seriously. Instead, he moved. Swift as a shadow, he lunged forward and pushed her down onto the grass. The world spun. The two of them tumbled together across the soft green earth. And soon, their lips met once more. The night passed in quiet intimacy. Though Ling Han did not cross the final threshold, the two of them slept entwined in each other's arms, their breaths synchronized, their warmth shared. By the time dawn arrived, they were no different from a married couple. Early in the morning, the two descended the stairs of the inn to have breakfast. Shui Yanyu's face remained flushed, her cheeks glowing like red clouds beneath a morning sky. Her beauty, enhanced by this shy warmth, became even more breathtaking. The moment she appeared, all eyes turned toward her. Countless gazes locked onto her figure. Many of the onlookers could not help but grumble inwardly. What kind of fortune did Ling Han possess? To share a night with such a captivating, enchanting woman, it was as if he had gathered all the luck from both his past life and this one. If it were them, they would never leave the room. They would close the doors and remain inside day and night. Yet, because of Ling Han's display of power the previous day, no one dared to openly harass Shui Yanyu. Still, their eyes betrayed them. They stared boldly, greedily. Her face, her chest, her slender waist, her long legs. Their gazes lingered shamelessly as though wishing their eyes could become hands. For cultivators at the immortal level, food and water were no longer necessities. As long as they could absorb spiritual qi, they would not starve, nor thirst, nor weaken. Yet cultivation was not meant to be suffering. Pleasure still held its place. Sleep, though unnecessary, was still practiced. Food, though unneeded, was still enjoyed. It was a matter of indulgence. Ling Han and Shui Yanyu ordered a simple breakfast, a few steamed buns, a small dish on the side. Fortunately, it was free. Otherwise, if they had to pay even a few true origin stones for such a meal, many would have erupted in anger. Just as they began, a waiter suddenly rushed over, his face pale with fear. "Oh no." His voice trembled. "People from the Black Five gang have arrived. Many of them." At those words, tension exploded. The five great forces of this region were constantly at odds. Every clash brought injuries, even death. And now, it seemed another conflict was about to erupt. "What?" The other waiters immediately reacted. Weapons were drawn. Without hesitation, they rushed toward the entrance. Recently, the struggle between factions had intensified. Territory disputes had pushed both sides into frequent battles. The Great Chariot Gang had long prepared for this. In an instant, they entered battle readiness. Ling Han's gaze sharpened slightly. A thought flashed through his mind. He and Shui Yanyu rose and walked toward the entrance, choosing to observe the unfolding situation. Outside, more than a dozen figures approached along the street, all dressed in black, each exuding a violent, oppressive aura. Their cultivation levels were clear. Mountain River tier. Not a single one had reached the Sun Moon tier. Naturally so. Even the lowest stage of the Sun Moon tier marked one as an elite, worthy of being an elder in the Scarlet Heaven Academy or a pillar within a great clan. This place, Tyrant Axe Harbor, was merely a small region. Such figures would not appear in ordinary skirmishes. If they did, it would mean war, a fight to the death, and that would only invite destruction, as the remaining three forces would seize the opportunity to crush both sides and divide the spoils. Thus, this confrontation would not escalate that far. The Black Five Gang stopped at the inn's entrance. They could go no further, because the Great Chariot Gang had already formed a line blocking their path. Neither side advanced. The air grew heavy. Then, the Great Chariot Gang spoke first. "What are you bastards from the Black Five Gang doing here? Get lost." Turn around now, or we'll beat you until you burst." Their voices rang with provocation. After all, the enemy had stepped into their territory. Within the Black Five Gang's ranks, the group parted. A young man stepped forward. He stood out immediately. Unlike the others, he did not wear black. Instead, he wore a flamboyant embroidered robe, filled with vibrant colors that made him a dazzling butterfly. His features were refined: smooth skin, red lips, white teeth. In his hand, he held a folding fan. With a crisp sound, "Pa!" he opened it. The fan spread gracefully as he waved it lightly, as though he stood in a garden rather than at the edge of conflict. Then his voice rang out, calm, yet laced with arrogance. "Yesterday, someone dared to beat members of our Black Five Gang." His gaze swept across the crowd. "Today, I have come specifically to find that person." The fan flicked once more. His tone turned cold. "As for those who have nothing to do with this," he pointed forward, "get out of my way." In the bustling stronghold of Tyrant Axe Harbor, where gangs ruled like kings and strength decided all matters, an unusual storm quietly began to gather. Ling Han stood calmly, yet a faint trace of surprise flickered in his eyes. The Black Five Gang had come, loud, arrogant, and in overwhelming numbers, all for him and Shui Yanyu. This, in truth, made little sense. After all, when they had dealt with those 5 gang members before, neither Ling Han nor Shui Yanyu had acted with excessive cruelty. The fault had clearly lain with those troublemakers themselves. By all logic, such a minor clash should have been brushed aside, not escalated into a full display of force. And yet, here they were. Before Ling Han could dwell further on this strangeness, the courtyard erupted with booming laughter. Ha! The members of the Great Chariot Gang roared with amusement, their voices echoing like thunder rolling across a mountain valley. "What a satisfying beating! We should thrash those Black Five Gang brats every time we see them. If that fellow is staying in our inn, then give him a free room. He deserves it." Their bold words carried both mockery and pride, their hostility toward the Black Five Gang undisguised. Amid the noise, a composed figure stepped forward. A middle-aged man, steady as an ancient pine, walked out from the crowd. His aura was restrained, yet those with keen senses could tell. This man had reached the consummate level of the Mountain River tier. He was none other than the local leader of the Great Chariot Gang. His gaze settled on the opposing group as he spoke calmly, yet with authority. "For such a trivial matter, the young gang leader himself has come?" The youth at the forefront of the Black Five Gang was Jiang Anyun, the sole heir of Jiang Ji, the gang leader himself. And that, more than anything, was what made this situation so peculiar. Why would the only son of such a powerful figure personally involve himself in such a minor dispute? At that moment, a voice suddenly broke through the tension. "Young gang leader, it's them!" A man with his arm bound in a cast pointed fiercely at Ling Han and Shui Yanyu. It was the very same man whose arm Ling Han had shattered the day before when he had attempted to extort an entrance fee. Jiang Anyun followed the direction of his finger. His gaze swept across Ling Han without pause, dismissive, uninterested. But when his eyes landed on Shui Yanyu, everything stopped. His pupils widened instantly. His breathing hitched. His mouth slowly curved into a grin, while his throat bobbed as he swallowed, unable to conceal his reaction. She was breathtaking. Her beauty was not merely striking. It was enchanting, intoxicating. Like a delicate hand reaching directly into one's heart, teasing and stirring uncontrollable desire. In that instant, Jiang Anyun felt an almost overwhelming urge to rush forward, to seize her, to claim her. In Tyrant Axe Harbor, such things were not uncommon. After all, strength ruled here. If one's subordinates were beaten, so be it. Who had told them to be weak? As long as no one was killed or gravely injured, the Black Five Gang would usually ignore such incidents. After all, no one could be certain whether the aggressor had powerful backing. If they had offended the descendant of a heavenly body tier elite, even the Yang clan could be wiped out in a single day. What more, a gang like theirs? And yet, this time was different. Jiang Anyun had heard, purely by chance, that among the 2 individuals involved was a woman of unparalleled beauty, and everyone knew. Young gang leader Jiang had one fatal weakness: women. Thus, under the pretense of revenge, he had personally led his forces here. Not for justice, but for desire. And now that he had seen her with his own eyes, indeed, She was as radiant as an immortal fairy, as delicate and alluring as blooming peach blossoms. Cough! Cough! It took him a moment to recover himself. After forcing down the burning urge in his chest, he straightened slightly and spoke. "Brat," he said, his voice regaining its edge, "you injured my subordinates. How do you intend to compensate?" The moment those words fell, the great chariot gang fell silent. The laughter vanished. The atmosphere tightened. This was no ordinary confrontation anymore. Jiang Anyun was not just another gang member. He was the son of Jiang Ji. If he were harmed, retaliation would come swiftly and mercilessly. Even if the Great Chariot Gang held enmity toward the Black Five Gang, they had no desire to escalate things into a life-and-death conflict. So long as the Black Five Gang did not cross the line, neither side wished to ignite war. Amid the silence, Ling Han merely smiled faintly. His tone was calm, almost amused. "Your men frightened me," he replied. "How do they intend to compensate?" A strange expression spread across the faces of those present. It was almost comical. He had beaten the other side's people, and now claimed he had been frightened? As expected, where Ling Han stood, trouble followed. Jiang Anyun snorted coldly. "You stand there without even a scratch," he scoffed. "What compensation do we owe?" "Enough nonsense. Hand over the woman beside you, and I'll consider this matter settled." At those words, realization dawned upon the crowd. So that was his true intention. No wonder he had come for such a trivial matter. He had set his sights on Ling Han's companion. "Pay! What a shameless lecher!" Many cursed inwardly. Yet, at the same time, more than a few felt envy stir within their hearts. If they possessed such power, would they not do the same? To storm in with overwhelming force, to seize such a beauty for themselves. To merely brush her hand would be worth 10 years of life. To hold her for a single night... Heh. Shu Yanyu's expression turned icy. With a flash of killing intent, she drew her divine sword, ready to strike. But before she could move, Ling Han raised his arm, stopping her. "There's no need to deal with a barking dog," he said lightly. "If it dares to bite, we'll cut off its head then." Shu Yanyu paused. Then, with a soft snort, she sheathed her blade. Though her anger remained, her frosty expression only made her beauty even more captivating, drawing countless gazes. Jiang Anyun swallowed hard again, his desire flaring uncontrollably. "Brat!" he suddenly shouted. "I'll pay you 1,000 true origin stones for her." A collective gasp swept through the crowd. 1,000,000 true origin stones. What kind of extravagant wealth was this? Normally, a single true origin stone could purchase a beauty. 10,000 would be enough to win the heart of a mountain river tier woman. But 1,000,000? What kind of treasure could that buy? Truly, young gang leader Jiang was utterly enslaved by beauty. Ling Han's expression turned cold. Sell Shui Yanyu? Even if he were destitute, that would be impossible. And besides, did Jiang Anyun even possess such wealth? He was merely the young gang leader, not the true master of the Black Five Gang. That absurd offer was nothing more than bait, an attempt to lure Ling Han out of the Great Chariot Gang's territory, where they could easily seize the woman by force. "Wife," Ling Han said calmly, "don't bother with these fools." Shu Yanyu nodded. She had no interest in engaging with such vulgar people. Without another glance, the two turned and walked toward the inn. Jiang Anyun's eyes burned. He stepped forward, intending to chase after them. But in the next instant, members of the Great Chariot Gang stepped in unison, forming a solid barrier that blocked his path. "Young gang leader!" The Black Five Gang members hurriedly grabbed hold of him, restraining him with urgency. If he were captured here, they would all be doomed upon returning. "Let go of me!" Jiang Anyun roared, his mind consumed entirely by Shu Yanyu's image. An elder stepped forward, speaking urgently. "Young gang leader, please listen. These two have clearly come to search for treasures in the sea. If that is the case, then dealing with them is simple." He leaned closer, lowering his voice. "As long as we board the same ship as them, they will have nowhere to escape." Jiang Anyun's eyes lit up. A brilliant plan. But then he frowned. "The earliest ship departs tomorrow." "Please endure for just one day," the elder urged, sweat beading on his forehead. Inwardly, he sighed bitterly. This young master was far too impulsive, utterly ruled by lust. Fortunately, the gang leader was still in his prime. Otherwise, if Jiang Anyun were to inherit control, the Black Five Gang would collapse within 10 days. "Let's go!" At last, unable to catch even a glimpse of Shui Yanyu, Jiang Anyun waved his hand in frustration and led his men away. One day. Surely it would pass quickly. But when the next day arrived, rage exploded. They didn't board a ship? Jiang Anyun's voice shook with fury. They're still in the inn? His killing intent surged uncontrollably. Why haven't they set out to sea yet? He roared. Do they have a death wish? The elder from before wiped cold sweat from his brow. Young gang leader, perhaps they're afraid of you? Trash! A resounding slap echoed as Jiang Anyun struck him across the face. Keep them under constant watch, he barked. Do not let them escape, if they do. His eyes burned with menace. I'll skin you alive. Silence fell once more, and within that silence, the storm had only just begun.